Howdy, howdy, howdy. No whiskey today again. I'm sorry. Not that I really care. So, still, obviously at work. The way I work from Salt Lake to Los Angeles. So I usually drive from Salt Lake down to LA and deliver, and then back to Salt Lake. And that's usually like pretty much a 3-day trip. So, I think I'll start doing videos from home and the truck, like in my other channel, which is a trucking channel. Up a little bit. Which all are from the truck. But those are about trucking. This is about life. And my experiences in life and the dumb things I've learned. So, I came across a video. Let me look at the name of this channel. I'll try to link the channel on here too, because support each other, right? But it was a pretty good video on emasculation, or ways that women emasculate men, and they don't even realize they're doing it sometimes. Sometimes they do it on purpose. Not all women. I'm never saying all women. I don't like to generalize, because I don't like when women say all men. That annoys the piss out of me. And women, for some reason, will call you an incel for that. And I'm like, no, not all men do this stuff. Like, all men are cheaters? No. 20% of men might cheat. That's it. The majority of men are great. Majority of women are probably great. I haven't found them yet. Just saying. Anyway, I'm joking. There's good women. I've had relationships with decent women, but serious relationships, that's a two-way thing. I don't know. Anyway, the channel was a guy named Oliver Robert Lucas, and he was talking about emasculation, the way that women do this and don't realize they're doing it, but they do. That kind of like was a sort of like piggyback topic on something I was going to talk about in general anyway. And really, it's things that, like, when you're starting to get into a relationship with somebody, especially somebody you meet online on an app like Bumble or Tinder or Hinge or whatever, and if they say one of these 7 things, I didn't narrow it down, these are just 7 examples, none are greater than the other, they're not in any order. It's just one of these 7 things on this here list I made. Did you read it that fast? I bet you didn't. So, number 1, if they say any of these 7 things, they might be a problem later on. They really might be. And they're not going to say all this up front. Some of them might not even know that they have these qualities. But that's where you need to ask questions. But I'll talk about that. This is all I have to drink until I get the heck out of Los Angeles. A Sprite. Obey your thirst. So, number 1, if they start trauma dumping on you. Now, I experienced this. Trauma dumping is, that's somebody who has not worked through their issues. And they are their issues. They're going to project these things onto you if it's not nipped in the butt right off the bat. If they're trauma dumping onto you, they're going to project all that stuff onto you later. Guarantee it. So, personally, my experience with this was, and I'm never going to name names here. I went on one date with somebody. Now, I have a video later on why you should never invite a woman back to your place on a first date, because I've done it a couple times and nothing really bad came from it, but those couple of times taught me nothing happened, didn't have sex or anything like that. It's just, I learned not to do that, because, whoa, you might be inviting somebody that you don't want knowing where you live into your home. So this particular person trauma dumped like crazy. Everything. I mean, within like a couple of days of talking, we met on Hinge. Not met, but, matched. Within a couple of days of talking, she was like telling me about SA, which, another word for, I can't say it on YouTube, but if you hear, bad things happen to women that men will do. Okay? That was out within the first couple of days. And just all kinds of things, all the things that had happened to her in her life. That's a little bit quick on, that means you haven't worked on it. If you're talking about it that fast with somebody you don't really know, you need to work through some stuff. That goes for you too, men. So if they're trauma dumping, that's a red flag. That means they're probably not ready for a relationship. They're going to project all that insecurity and all that trauma onto you because they haven't worked on it. And that's a lot of older women. A lot of, not old women, but like my age, like 30, almost 40, mid-30s, whatever. I can't speak for Gen Z. I'm a millennial. elder millennial, I'm old, but you know, if they're doing this stuff and they're telling you all these problems that they've had and all these things that messed them up, and they're telling you right when you first meet, just break it off. Don't even go after it. They need to work on themselves, because they're going to tear you apart. I'm telling you. Number 2, this one, I swear every single woman I meet says this: my ex is a narcissist. If you meet 10 women and 10 of them tell you that their ex is a narcissist, there's some of them, they're just throwing that term out there, or somebody's lying. It's statistically impossible for 10 out of 10 men to be narcissists. Really what it usually is they just didn't get along. And maybe the guy was an asshole too, but the problem also lies usually in both people when a relationship doesn't work. Typically, that's how it is. Both people were a freaking problem, and they call each other narcissists. Now, I actually have a couple of friends who call each other, I met them when they were together, and they both call each other a narcissist. The girl says the guy was a narcissist, the guy says the girl was a narcissist. I'm still acquainted with both of them, you know? I don't think either one of them's a narcissist. You know, I still know each other. I still talk to both of them. They don't talk to each other, and neither one of them, I'm telling you, neither one's a narcissist. Now, I'm not super close to either one of them, but I just don't get that vibe from either one of them. So people just throw this term out there to have no accountability for the problems that they had in that relationship, that they were being the problem. Now, that doesn't mean they were being all of the problem, but they say my ex is a narcissist because that washes all accountability for the problems that they brought into the relationship. And you know what? People are going to say it. Like every girl says, my ex is a narcissist. Every girl's had a narcissistic ex. Every single one of them. Now, me personally, I never dated a narcissist. Thankfully, I avoided it. And I do know the red flags very early on to avoid dating a narcissist. But I learned about all this by dating somebody who had borderline personality disorder. Didn't know she had that when we first started dating, but about a little over 2 years in is when she wasn't really diagnosed, but her therapist told her she had every sign of BPD. And that's when she told me. So that's very similar to a narcissist, and people like to argue and say that BPD's worse or this and that. I'm like, no, somebody with BPD is not doing it on purpose. That's just how their brain works, and it's unfortunate for them. But they're going to ruin every relationship they're in, and they're not doing it on purpose. A narcissist is doing it on purpose. They get enjoyment out of pain and suffering of other people, so they are worse. I don't care what anybody tries to argue. But if they say their ex is a narcissist, that's a little bit of a red flag, because they might not have any accountability. But maybe they'll backtrack that and say, he was a narcissist, but I was also doing this. If they say all their exes are narcissists or crazy, they're a problem. Because the common denominator here is that woman. She's choosing these people. Either she chooses bad guys on purpose because they might be exciting, or she's the problem. And she's blaming it all on the men. So, yeah. Number 3. If they don't like your hobby. Now, I had a video earlier about gaming, you know, how it was the most unattractive hobby to women. Who cares? You know, if a woman doesn't like that you game, she's not the girl for you, man. Leave her. Leave her. Done. Put her on the street if she lives with you. What? I mean, sorry. You're with a guy that likes video games. So what? It's not even really a hobby. It's just entertainment. So, or other hobby like, I dated somebody, the one that I dated somebody for a little bit who really, for some reason, had a problem with me being outdoorsy and camping. Not camping, but hiking. No. She would go hiking and camping. She didn't like that I liked snowboarding. She didn't like winter sports because of the snow. She didn't want me to go snowboard. She's like, I'm not going to go with you. I'm like, okay, you don't have to go with me if I go snowboarding. It's okay. She's like, for some reason, had a problem that I was okay with her not going with me to go snowboarding, or that I wouldn't go snowboarding because she didn't want to go. That's a problem. Now, people are allowed to have hobbies, okay? If you are with somebody who doesn't have a hobby, that's also a problem, because they're going to be codependent on you for all of their time and attention. They're not putting their attention anywhere else, and that is not healthy. That's also, I'm going to skip one and go to number 5, because this is if they don't like your hobbies. Number 5 is, like I just said, if they have no hobbies. Now, at my age, I'm almost 40. It is almost impossible for me to find a woman who is not a single mother. Now, I don't believe single mothers are a red flag. A lot of guys will say that. But you have to understand, if you're going to date a single mother, they're not going to have a lot of time. And they're not going to have much of a hobby either, because they're taking care of their kids. Now, if you find one that has a hobby, you found a good one. But most of the time, they don't have a hobby because they just don't have time or attention. All their energy is on their kids because they don't have a partner helping them. So that's where it's tough to come in. But it's tough to deal with that, because I don't really necessarily consider that one a red flag. It's just something you have to pay attention to. If they are single and they don't have kids and they have no hobbies, they just stay home, why don't you have hobbies? You need to have hobbies as a human being to occupy your mind and keep growth and keep a healthy mind. And if they don't have hobbies, they're going to start to adopt your hobbies. And the problem that starts with that, it might seem like that's a great thing, but if they start to adopt your hobbies, they might start to get a little controlling about it. And they won't want you to do anything without them. They become dependent on your validation, your attention. Absolutely unhealthy dynamic in a relationship. I've been there. Don't do it. So, if they have no hobbies, that is a red flag. You got to ask them, why don't you have hobbies? You should get one. I'm going to save number 4 for last, because it's a bit of a deeper topic. Number 6. You see this a lot on dating apps, because there's literally a status that they can put. Do you want a long-term relationship, or you want a short-term relationship, just a hookup? A lot of them say, not sure what I want. That's a red flag, lady. I'm telling you, if you're not sure what you want, you don't need to be dating, period. You need to know right off the bat if you don't want a relationship, if you just want hookups, if you want short-term. Short-term's weird to me. It always has been. What is short-term? I just want to date you for three weeks and then we're done. That's fucking weird. I'm sorry. Or long-term, or you want to get married. You got to know. You got to know. If you're unsure, that whole relationship, it's going to be a situationship the whole time. Everybody's confused. It's awkward. You don't know where you stand. You never know if you're going to get another date. And they'll just call it off. That is a way to avoid commitment entirely. That's what those people are. They're going to get involved. They're going to act like you're great, and they're going to ghost you every single time. Thank you. You're welcome from that little tidbit. Number 7. Just experienced this twice. If they say, one of the things you should ask in the not opening, but within the first couple of days of meeting someone, is ask them, do you know your attachment style? What you're looking for is the healthiest attachment style, which is secure attachment. I used to have anxious attachment style, but I worked through that. I'm not really an anxious attacher anymore. I'll make a video about attachment styles. But what you're looking for is secure. Now, anxious doesn't really mean a red flag. Avoidant attachment is a red flag. They might not be able to help it, but it's a red flag for sure, because you're going to catch hell trying to tiptoe around what this person will get. They'll get scared of a relationship, really. Once they start to get attached and start to like you, they pull away and they get distant. They might even ghost you. They will ghost you. But so avoidant attachment is a red flag. And I say it's a red flag because the last 2 women that I dated were avoidant attachment style. Well, both of them told me right off the bat, I'm avoidant attachment style. I said, okay. I dated one of them for 3 months. That's the one I met, part of her family. I met her kids. We're planning on meeting her parents. Everything. And once she sensed that I didn't have feelings, because we were only a few months in, and I wasn't in love, and I definitely wasn't going to move in with her, and wasn't going to rush the relationship because I wanted it to be healthy, her avoidant attachment pulled her away, and she ghosted me. And then a month later, she came back. We went on one more date, and then she ghosted me again. That is avoidant attachment style. They start to get attached, they pull away, they run away because they're terrified of getting into a relationship because they're scared of being hurt again. They have not worked through their shit. They need to work through their shit. Now, the last one, I gave her a chance. She told me on the first date, she's avoidant attachment. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a chance because she said she was in therapy. I gave it a chance, and it's exactly a month later, I'm ghosted. I sent her a message yesterday, in the morning. I sent her a good morning message like I did every day. No reply until I think it was like 8:30 or something at night. I woke up the next morning and I saw the message. And I'm like, what happened? You know, all she said was like, worst day ever. And I'm like, well, what happened? You know, if it was the worst day ever, other than you had just ignoring me and ghosting me. So she has not replied to that either. And that's, if for somebody who was talking to me throughout the day, went on multiple dates, and was consistent talking to me, and then just no communication at all, red flag. That's avoidant attachment. So, all right, I think we're going to cut it at 20. We're at 15 minutes. So this one, the last one, this was the particular video I ran across that spurred this on, was emasculation. If they do anything to emasculate you as a man. And a lot of women do this on purpose. A lot of them don't do it on purpose. They don't realize they're doing it. Not all women do it, because I think some women just respect men. But it's getting harder and harder to find women who actually want a man as a partner. They want male girlfriends. I'll make a video about that too. What's a male girlfriend? It's a term I made up, I guess, for, you know, I want to listen to Taylor Swift in the car and have somebody sing along with me. Men don't do that. And it's not being toxic to not want to do that. It's just most men just don't give a fuck about Taylor Swift's music because it's not made for us. We don't care. If you want to sing Chris Stapleton, sure, most men are gonna be like, yeah, cool, I love Chris Stapleton. He's a great guy. He's cool as shit, man. I watched his little video, 10 Things I Can't Live Without. Too much of a tangent. He's a great guy. I'm not even a country guy. I'm a metalhead, but I like Chris Stapleton. He's cool as shit. So, emasculation. Now, what are the ways that women will do this, whether they realize it or not? Number one, and this is a big one because I've experienced it before, is using sex as currency. That is a way to control you. And I'm not saying that every woman should just bow down, have sex with a man whenever a man wants, blah, 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 whatever, because that is also a bad dynamic. Both of you should want to have sex. But if it comes down to a point where, you know, say the woman asked you to buy her some expensive thing, and you're like, I can't afford that. And she's like, well, if you don't do this, well, I'm not going to have sex with you for the next 2 weeks. Bullshit. Okay, cool. No sex, no girlfriend. Bye. Get out of my life. Because sex as currency is toxic as hell. It is a controlling behavior, and it is absolutely emasculating to you as a man. Because as men, to be healthy, I mean, this goes for women too, a healthy relationship is sex. Sex is part of a healthy relationship. And if you're denying your partner that, I mean, sex reduces stress. It actually will make you live longer. It produces more testosterone. It's just healthy for everybody. So if a woman is withholding that just to spite you, that is one of the worst emasculating behaviors that a woman has. And if they start doing that, you need to show them the door, or they need to fix their shit. So, the other way they'll do it is demeaning your activities. All this is from that video. I'll link it down. Your activities, like, you know, if you're going to go to the gym. I've experienced this as far as like being a guy that go to the gym. EOS Fitness, bye. All right, so I was with a girl who had body dysmorphia. This is the BPD one. She was not happy with her body. She looked amazing, but if somebody has body dysmorphia, which a lot of people with BPD do, they think they're fat all the time. They're absolutely not. She looked great. I don't get it. I don't understand how the brain will trick you into thinking this, but she didn't want me going to the gym because she wasn't happy with her body. I'm like, well, how about you go to the gym too? It's like, I didn't say that, but like, I'm going to go to the gym to be healthy, you know? So if they're like, don't go to the gym, I don't want you going to the gym, I don't want you looking at other girls, they don't want you going to the gym because they think you're looking at other girls or like cheating on them or something like that, that's emasculating. If they automatically think you're cheating by just going to the gym, that is a problem. That's insecurity, and that's a them issue. They need to work on that. You know, guys that like to go out and grill. Why do you always want to go out and grill? Why don't you just cook in here? Why don't you just, like, I don't know, just like it. It's a masculine thing. It's men like to grill. Like, that's about it. We like meat. Okay? So if they're demeaning that or devaluing it, that's a problem. Constant criticism. Now, I didn't go through this too much with the girl with BPD, but my ex-wife was really bad about this because she was a very anxious person, and she criticize everything I did. Everything I did. If it wasn't the way she did it, just the way I washed dishes, they'd be clean. The way I washed dishes, or the way I did the laundry, or the way I would sweep or clean. She literally would get mad at me for cleaning the apartment. Okay, I was like, it was just constant criticism. And I actually called her on it a couple of times. She acknowledged it once and like kind of walked it back a little bit. But then eventually got to a point where she didn't care. She just constantly criticized everything I did, especially if I did something in a masculine way. And by in a masculine way, I mean like, what's an example here? I can't even think of a good example. It's just like she didn't like me being a masculine man. She was a super feminist. Super feminist. And that just came across as her just trying to like make sure that I wasn't being a man. And maybe I'll make a video on that because I need to think and ruminate on that one a little bit. But if it's constant criticism, like, you know, not trusting your judgment, that was another big one, is something like, oh, we need to change the radiator out on my car. I can change the radiator. Somebody yelling. Oh, so I can change the radiator because that's pretty easy to do. In most cars, it's just unhook a couple things, unhook the hoses, pull the radiator out, put a new one in, hook everything back up. It's easy. Or change a dishwasher. You know, pull the dishwasher out, put a new one in, things like that. Not skilled stuff. You know, if it's something like remodeling a bathroom, I get it. But a lot of times if something like that, like menial things would come up and I'm like, I can just do that. And she would always say, no, I'll call this person or this person or this person. I'm just like, I can do that. Like, it's so easy. And she would always, no, I'm not doing that. No, I don't want me to do it. That's a masculine behavior. Not letting your man, or not letting you as a man, be handy and be useful, because that's important to us, right? So, what's another one? Yeah, like won't let you work on things, and that's another way of controlling behavior. And the last one in that video was mothering. And mothering is like, for some reason, a lot of women think that they'll get men and then they will make every decision for the man. Like, you can't cook, I'm going to cook this. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to decorate this way. I'm going to do this way. You know, I'm going to do your laundry because you don't do it right. Things like that. That's mothering. And it is the most absolute controlling and stifling, exhausting, frustrating, suffocating behavior that a woman can do. And you know what? They'll do it because they want to do it, because they don't trust you as a man to do anything. Then they do this, and then they jump down your throat because they did it. And they act like you made them do it. Now, I remember being in an argument with this girl that had BPD at one time, and finish up my video here, and she was like, I don't want to be your mother. And I'm like, I work 14 hours a day. I make six figures. I don't now, but at the time I did. I make six figures. I come back, I pay all the bills. I clean up after you and your kid. I do the laundry for you. I fold your clothes for you. I cook dinner every night for us. And you're telling me that you had to mother me. I'm sorry. I'm the independent one here. I am just being a man, and you're too insecure to accept that you are useless. I don't care if that sounds mean, but that's really much what I told her. Like, don't emasculate me and then expect me not to come back at you with, hey, you're the problem. And if you're the problem, I'm going to call you on it. If that sounds toxic, I'm sorry, it's not. But calling people out on their toxic behavior is not toxic. They're going to call it toxic, but it's not. So, all right. I guess it's 25 minutes. So I got to crank the truck up. That's all for today. Y'all have a good one.